So we get into day one of square and cube root equations. Okay. So we're just going to kind of show you, this is kind of the intro to it. So we're going to kind of show you the symbolic process of graphing it. We're not going to actually graph it, of solving a square and cube root equation. So it says square root, we're going to square both sides. And then why? Because we need to cancel out the square root symbol. Okay. So when we square both sides, like we're doing right here, because when we do the left side, we have to do the right side. Down here, you can see the square root lifts, and we square 4 to get 16. And now from that, we're just solving, we're basically solving a two-step equation. So subtract 1 to both sides, and I get 5x equals 15, and we divide by 5. I get x equals 3 as my answer. All right? So the answer for this equation is 3. And when I go down here to look, if you notice where x is 3, and you kind of follow it up, there's the intersection point where this line here is g of x equals 4. And this line here is our f of x equals the square root of 5x plus 1. That is the square root function. Okay? So you can see where at 3, it meets there at 3, 4 is the intersection point. We're not finding the intersection point, we're only finding the x part of the intersection point when we solve for these equations. But again, how is the solution to the equation shown in the diagram? It's always the intersection point, like a system. Okay. Now, a cubic root function is a little different because we have extra stuff outside the root. We want to get rid of that. So we're going to add 12 to both sides, as the first step over here says so. So when I do that, I'm left with the cubic root of 7x plus 1 equals 4, because negative 8 plus 4 is 12. Now in the second step, we got to cube both sides because we have a cubic root, not a square root. So to cube both sides, we'll lift the radical and leave me 7x plus 1 equals, and then 4 cubed is 64. So now when we get down to here, we're going to solve for x, basically using our two-step equation. So we're going to subtract 1 to both sides. 7x equals 63. And when we divide by 7, we get x equals 9. Why do we have to divide, or why do we have to add 12 to both sides before cubing both sides? Because you had to isolate the cube root. You got to get rid of all that extra stuff. So if you look down below, okay, and again, you don't see the line, so let's draw the line in here. So for some reason, it's not recognizing my touch, so I'm going to use the marker here, and hopefully it'll just draw. There we go. So at g of x equals negative 8 is a horizontal line at negative 8, which is right there. So if you look, all right, that intersection point is right here. Well, we had x equals 9, right? So if you look at 9 and you come down, you can see that's the x part of the intersection point. All right? And the intersection point is actually at 9, negative 8. Okay? And again, how does the ordered pair relate to the equation? Well, again, if you replace x for 9 and f of x at negative 8, you see that it works. All right? So let's do the bottom here, checking for understanding. We got two equations that we just solved. So again, I got some extra stuff outside the square root I got to get rid of. So we're going to subtract 7 to both sides. And I get the square root of x plus 1 equals 3. So I'm going to square both sides because it's the square root function. When I do that, I get x plus 1 equals, and this 3 squared is 9. When I subtract 1 to both sides, I get x equals 8. Okay? And just like any equation, you can plug it back in and solve it. So if I plug an 8 in for x, I made that a little big, but that's all right. Well, 8 plus 1 is the square root of 9. Whoa. And the square root of 9 is 3. 3 plus 7 is 10. We got our right answer. All right? If I go to the other one, again, I got some extra stuff here. So the first thing I got to do, when I'm moving things over, we kind of work backwards. I got to subtract first. So I got 36 on the right, and negative 12 times the cubic root of negative 6x minus 3. Now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 12, so I can get the root all by itself. And I got the cubic root of negative 6x minus 3 equals negative 3. And now I'm going to cube both sides because I've isolated the root. When I do that, I get negative 6x minus 3 equals negative 27. And now it's solving a two-step equation. Add 3 to both sides. Negative 6x equals negative 24. Divide by negative 6. And over here, x is going to equal 4. And again, I can check it, because if I plug it in back into the equation, negative 6 times 4 minus 3 plus 1 equals 37. Well, inside the cubic root, negative 6 times 4 is negative 24, and then minus 3 is the negative 27. And then when I take the cubic root of negative 27, I get negative 3. And negative 3 times negative 12 is 36. And 36 plus 1 is 37. There we go. And again, you can see there that I have solved it because it checks on both sides, and we're good to go. All right. So that is day one of the square and cubic root equation.